Hi class, it's Miss Pugz reporting to you live from my bedroom. We are back for the next session of the one and only Ivan. I know our last reading was a little bit sad, but I want to promise you that things will become a little bit brighter for Ivan if we just hold on. That's the thing about this book. It talks about controversial animal treatment and animals' feelings, and because we get to hear the story from Ivan's voice, it gives us a little bit more of a chance to be empathetic to animals and their feelings. So as I continue to read today, feel free to follow along if you rented or bought your own book, and if not, I'm happy to read to you so you can listen along. We left off on page 10. That was the last page that we read together, so I'm going to be starting on page 11. The littlest big top on earth. My neighbors here at the Big Top Mall know many tricks. They are an educated lot, more accomplished than I am. One of my neighbors plays baseball, although she is a chicken. Another drives a fire truck, although he is a rabbit. I used to have a neighbor, a sleek and thoughtful seal, who could balance a ball on her nose from dawn till dusk. Her voice was like the throaty bark of a dog chained outside on a cold night. Children wished on pennies and tossed them into her plastic pool. They glowed on the bottom like flat copper stones. The seal was hungry one day, or bored perhaps, so she ate 100 pennies. Max said she'd be fine. He was mistaken. Mac calls our show the littlest big top on earth. Every day at 2, 4, and 7, humans fan themselves, drink sodas, applaud, babies wail. Mac, dressed like a clown, pedals a tiny bike. A dog named Snickers rides on Stella's back. Stella sits on a stool. It is a very sturdy stool. I don't do any tricks. Max says it's enough for me to just be me. Stella told me that some circuses move from town to town. They have humans who dangle on ropes, twinning from the tops of tents. They have grumbling lions with gleaming teeth and a snaking line of elephants, each clutching the limp tail in front of her. The elephants look far off into the distance, so they won't see the humans who want to see them. Our circus doesn't migrate, which means that it doesn't move. We sit here where we are like an old beast too tired to push on. After our show, humans forge through the stores. A store is where humans buy things they need to survive. At the Big Top Mall, some stores sell new things, like balloons and t-shirts and caps to cover the gleaming heads of humans. Some stores sell old things, things that smell dusty and damp and long forgotten. All day, I watch humans scurry from store to store. They pass their green paper, dry as old leaves and smelling of 1,000 hands, back and forth and back again. What do you think he's talking about there? They pass their green paper, dry as old leaves and smelling of 1,000 hands, back and forth and back again. Think about that. They hunt frantically, stalking, pushing, grumbling. Then they leave, clutching bags filled with things, bright things, soft things, big things. But no matter how full the bags, they always come back for more. Humans are clever indeed. They spin pink clouds you want to eat. They build domains with flat waterfalls, but they are lousy hunters. Page 14, gone. Some animals live privately, unwatched, but that is not my life. My life is flashing lights and pointing fingers and uninvited visitors. Inches away, humans flatten their little hand against the wall of glass that separates us. The glass says you are this and we are that, and that is how it will always be. Humans leave their fingerprints behind, sticky with candy, slick with sweat. Each night, a weary man comes to wipe them away. Sometimes I press my nose against the glass. My nose print, like your fingerprint, is the first and last and the only one. The man wipes the glass and then I am gone. Page 15, artists. Here in my domain, I do not have much to do. You can only throw so many me balls at humans before you get bored. A meatball is made by rolling up dung until it's the size of a small apple, then letting it dry. That's pretty gross. I always keep a few on hand. I think he throws something at the visitors. Something that has to do with animal dung. Ask your parents. For some reason, my visitors never seem to carry any. In my domain, I have a tire swing, a baseball, a tiny plastic pool filled with dirty water, and even an old TV. I have a stuffed toy gorilla too. Julia, the daughter of the weary man who cleans the mall each night, gave it to me. The gorilla has empty eyes and floppy limbs, but I sleep with it every night. I call it Not Tag. Tag was my twin sister's name. So now we're learning a little bit more about Ivan and maybe his family. Let's keep reading. Julia is 10 years old. She has hair like black glass and a wide half-moon smile. She and I have a lot in common. We are both great apes, and we are both artists. It was Julia who gave me my first crayon, a stubby blue one, slipped through the broken spot in my glass along with a folded piece of paper. Now, if you're a bit confused, Julia is the little girl that gave Ivan the gorilla toy. So he's saying here she's 10 years old, she has black hair and a small little smile, and they have a lot in common. They're both artists. Julia, the little girl, gave Ivan his first crayon by slipping it through that broken spot in his glass he told us about last time. I knew what to do with it. I'd watched Julia draw. When I dragged the crayon across the paper, it left a trail in its wake like slithering blue snakes. Julia's drawings are wild with color and movement. She draws things that aren't real. Clouds that smile, cars that swim. She draws until her crayons break and her paper rips. Her pictures are like pieces of a dream. I can't draw dreamy pictures. I never remember my dreams, although I sometimes awaken with my fists clenched and my heart hammering. My drawings seem pale and timid next to Julia's. She draws the ideas in her head. I draw the things in my cage. Simple items that fill my days, an apple core, a banana peel, a candy wrapper. I often eat my subjects before I draw them. But even though I draw the same thing over and over again, I never get bored with my art. When I'm drawing, that's all I think about. I don't think about where I am, about yesterday or tomorrow. I just move my crayons across the paper. Humans don't always seem to recognize what I draw. They squint, cock their heads, and murmur. I'll draw a banana, a perfectly lovely banana, and they'll say, "It's a yellow airplane. It's a duck without wings." That's all right. I'm not drawing for them. I'm drawing for me. Max soon realized that people will pay for a picture made by a gorilla, even if they don't know what it is. Now I draw every day. My work sells for $20 a piece, $25 with the frame, at the gift shop near my domain. If I get tired and need a break, I eat my crayons. I'm going to stop there. That's on page 18, so I'm going to bookmark it. But before I close my book and before we end this video, I want to talk about something that made me feel very hopeful and happy rather than sad that I felt yesterday for Ivan. On page 17, he talks about art, and he talks about his friend Julia, the human who gave him his first crayon. You can really tell that drawing and art is something that makes Ivan feel really happy and fulfilled. He says, "I never get bored with my art. When I'm drawing, that's all I think about. I don't think about where I am, about yesterday or tomorrow. I just move my crayons across the paper." Yesterday we learned a lot about the domain that Ivan lives in, and we all could agree that we didn't think it was the best domain for him. I felt sad and empathetic towards Ivan because I know that gorillas need to live in big, open, and wild spaces. So to hear that he does have something that he really loves to do makes my heart feel very full for him. Sometimes our circumstances aren't perfect, or maybe our house is a chaotic place, or maybe our surroundings don't feel like they're positive sometimes. But it's really cool to find something that makes your brain go to a different place. For me, that's definitely reading. Whenever I'm having a bad day, I love to read. So I'm going to make a connection with Ivan and say, wow, the way Ivan feels about art and drawing is how I feel about reading or taking Benji on a walk. What distracts you from a sad day? All right, well, tomorrow we'll be reading another session of The One and Only Ivan. Thank you so much for coming to read with us. You can always sit with us. You can follow me on Instagram at Miss Pugz with a Z for updates on when videos upload. And if you are from my class, don't forget to fill out the positive Google form below. See you tomorrow.